What's up, y'all? Here's an update for 2026 and just the off season in general. I know I haven't done a recap of my season in 25, and I barely did one for 24. So I'll eventually get videos out, kind of going over that and going over my progression as far as from starting competing when I was 21 and all the way till now. So that was back in 2012, and that was my first competition. And I just started lifting in 2000, late 2010, early 2011 is when I started lifting. So I'll talk about the progression there and kind of why it's taken me so long, or maybe not why it's taken me, but yeah, I guess why. Why it's taken me so long to get to where I'm at, and kind of the ups and downs and the consistency factor and all of those things. Um, but as far as updating today and updating on the current off season and all of that, it's been going well. I mean, right now it's only been 7 or 8 weeks. So it was November 23rd was my last day to compete. It is January 15th. So yeah, almost 8 weeks, 7 weeks basically since my competition. And I am at about 155 pounds right now. I competed at about 142. So a little bit faster paced of rate of gain than we wanted, but kind of dealing with a little bit of a weird prep symptoms, but not so much, I think, from prep because my sleep is finally kind of back to normal. That was the kind of last thing that was taking some time to settle in, but it's more so because of the job. So right now I'm working part-time at Chipotle, and the 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 position is grill and prep, and so like the grill position is a pretty physically demanding job, as pretty much, I mean, both positions, all positions, you're on your feet all day, but as far as the grill goes, you're constantly moving and you're over a hot plancha or grill. It's not like open flame, but it's like a griddle style, although there is a gas grill, but you're usually on the plancha. And so you're over that, and then you're also moving around, and you're picking up cases of produce or meat or whatever it is, and you're like I guess in constant motion. So that is spiking my calorie needs for those days, and kind of what I was trying to figure out the first couple of positions, because I was just doing prep before, and now that I know kind of like what to expect, I think it's wiser to eat more the day before, kind of like you would for a race or something like that, than have the calories hit more so the day of and then trail over into the day after, is kind of what I was finding. So yesterday, and this might be helpful if you have a physically active job as well, right? Whether you're like retail, then you're always walking around. Like I used to work retail, and I would get like, I don't know, 20 to 25,000 steps sometimes, even like holiday seasons, like over 30,000 steps, depending on the store you're in, right? So it really depends. But if you have those days that you're going to be a little bit more active, like you would an event or a race or something like that, eat a little bit more. And that's kind of just how I'm going to treat it and see how it goes today. As far as like training goes, it depends on how I wake up. So I typically don't like to set an alarm. I just kind of sleep until I'm done sleeping. Sometimes that's 6 hours, sometimes it's seven, sometimes it's 8 or 9. It just really depends. Uh, like I said, I just kind of let my internal clock run it. And yeah, so that's update kind of like life situation as far as work and job, and school's going to start next week. So I'll be doing that. It's going to be, I have a degree in history. I've got one in chemistry, and now it's going to be cloud computing. So I'm a little bit all over the place. I had wanted to go into medical school about 3, 4 years ago. Things didn't work out, no big deal. And that's why I ended up with the chemistry degree, because you take so many prerequisites for it that you can just have an associate's, and that's, it satisfies that. Cloud computing, however, is going to be hopefully, not hopefully, but it's going to be different. I think that I was chasing medical school for more of the ego and like the prestige and like the whole, I don't know. whatever it is to mean to be a titled doctor. Um, and I wasn't doing it for myself. So yeah, over the years, I've learned to be hopefully a little bit more comfortable with being myself. And anyway, yeah, so that's what I'll be doing. I started last semester, and yeah, I'll be full time school, working part time Chipotle, and just going from there, just bodybuilding for the next couple of. I mean, I've been bodybuilding pretty much my entire adult life, but that's kind of getting to the point of the video. Is my season is set up for my off season is essentially set up to focus on school and bodybuilding, and we're gonna see how that is gonna pan out for the next couple of years because those are going to be my two main focuses. Uh, bring you along on the journey and see what I can get. I mean, see, how can my physique transform over those years? Because what it's really boiled down to is the 16 years since I started competing and started lifting. I mean, I've been training for 16 years, and yes, consistently over those 16 years, meaning I probably haven't missed more than a week, or yeah, I would say maximum like 10 days of of consecutive training. Actually, I know I missed 10 days because I was in the hospital for 10 days at minimum. So maybe like 3 weeks of training that I've missed consecutively over that time period. So outside of those couple of weeks, I've been training, and the package that I brought last year in order to turn pro was good, obviously enough to turn pro, but there are some glaring weaknesses in my physique, most notably my front, right? So like my chest, my shoulders, arms, pretty much all upper body front facing is a weaker point, right? Which is what I'm focusing on this off season, right? So my current program, my current split is hitting chest, shoulders, arms 3 times a week, and then those are my weak body parts, and then the kind of like semi-average to just like okay areas are like glutes, calves, abs, and hamstrings. So I'm hitting those twice a week. And then my stronger two body parts or areas are my quads and my back. So that's how it's broken. That's once a week. So that's how it's broken up right now as far as training goes. And I can already see some improvements coming in as far as the upper body goes. And I had planned this, believe it or not. I mean, I knew starting out as a younger bodybuilder and getting more into it that I chose natural bodybuilding because of the longevity. Because I am a realistic person. I saw my physique. I know my size. I know my limitations. Right, like I wasn't going to be an IFBB pro, and that wasn't going to be in the cards for me. And I didn't want to risk my health in order to go on the enhanced side if I wasn't going to have a shot at maxing out what I could, like my potential, right? Because like this never-ending chase, in my opinion, and I don't know because I've never obviously never been on the enhanced side, but what I can see is that a lot of people get into this never ending more and more, and I can just like kind of like increase the dose and try and get more out of whatever compound they're using. And that would, I know myself, right? I would, if I went down that route, I would want to try and push the limits because that's just the way I'm wired. Like I want to see what I can do. And so I said, okay, well, instead of, I know there's heart disease, there's, I guess you want to call it like, what do you, I guess, immunocompromised positions, like, in my family. There's a lot of health issues genetically that I would be dabbling with that could come up with the enhanced side. Is like, it's not worth it. Let me see what I can do naturally. And so that was a super long winded way of saying I planned hitting my legs and my back the most as a younger man because I knew two things. One, I had always heard that shows and competitions are won from the back, meaning that when most people look great up front, but then when they turn around, they either fade away, they don't have thickness, they don't have width, they don't have the detail, they don't have those things in order to retain the judge's eyes. Okay. And so everyone looks good up front, and then they say quarter turn, and it's like, okay, from the side, okay, you can kind of see it fizzling out, and then boom, quarter turn again, and then you're at the back, and then they can start moving you around. And I'll go over my 2025 competition, and they kind of moved me closer to the center when I turned around. Okay, they had me on the outside as far as like the first couple of poses, but then they moved me closer in on the back poses. So clearly, I did something right along in that time frame. The second one is the legs, right? And the legs, it comes down to they were a weak body part when I started out. I had super chicken legs, right? I didn't grow up lifting, I didn't grow up running. I swam and I played tennis in high school, so not really like weightlifting sports in general. And I didn't have anything really developed. I don't know if you've seen like a picture of me in my teenage years from my Instagram or maybe YouTube. It might be up by now, but yeah. So I said I need to build some legs, and I spent a lot of time really trying to dial in my legs, and I love squatting. It was just I think biomechanically I'm suited for it. I kind of have like an even upper body or torso to limb or lower limb length, and it was really my knees that started kind of like screaming at me over time than anything. And then of course lower back, like that's from deadlifts, unfortunately. Anyhow, built those two body parts up knowing that the upper body and chest were going to be easier to develop even in a later age because of the mere fact that they recover faster, they're not as taxing on the body. And what I saw from competitors, like older competitors in pros, they were able to keep up their upper body mass versus like their lower body. It's a little bit harder. And I don't know if that's due to just training and they had to change their training style and they weren't able to hold on to their legs, or they didn't develop their legs early enough in order to match their upper body development as time went on. So those are things that I considered, and it's worked out for me so far because again, like I'm relatively injury free, and within that time frame of the last 16 years, I've learned how to train around injury and how to still grow my legs in a safer way that doesn't tax my knees as much and my lower back as much. And now I'm kind of like rebuilt those patterns in order to hit a little bit more um, barbell exercises, which is what I'm trying to incorporate into some of my training right now. Because I was machine heavy, and I kind of want to focus a little bit more on some free weights. One, because I'm training from home now a little bit more than I was at the gym, so equipment is a little bit more limited. But it's also I started out on barbells, right? Like I was like everyone else back in the early tens. What was it? Mad Cow, Smolov, 5x5, starting strength. Uh, what is it? Yeah, I mean those are the four big ones that I ran, and it was all like the big three or the big five movements, and I enjoyed it, but I got injured, and it is what it is. But now I know how to move better. I know how to be less ego driven as far as the weights go, and I'm gonna see and then try and incorporate some of those lifts more as a bodybuilder than a power lifter, and not be concerned about the weights, other than just like keeping data and making sure that I am getting stronger on them. So long update. Hopefully you stuck around to the end, and I will see how frequently I'll do these. I mean, things aren't going to change so much from week to week, but I'm going to start posting, I think, my training. Not I think. I'm going to start posting my training on YouTube. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see my stories update. and I'll probably transfer what I do on Instagram over to YouTube, and then give a little bit more long form and context as far as training, and then kind of like my history and my background, and then you know just random things that I think about, and maybe like have a, yeah, like, I don't know. You guys have any questions? Drop them in the comments, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.